Yeah, the 355 may be bad and all, but it could be worse. You could be near a theater that's showing American Siege. American Siege is this month's low-budget Bruce Willis movie that does all it can to remind you of all of the better Bruce Willis movies you could be watching. They call him Boy Scout at one point. Watch The Last Boy Scout. It's got Siege in the title. Watch The Siege. It's about a hostage situation. Watch Hostage. It involves a group of people trying to break into a vault. Watch Die Hard. This movie is like several stories put into one, and none of them are any good. You've got one story about a group of rednecks breaking into a house and taking a doctor hostage, and every now and then there may be a knock on the door where one of the cops says, "Hey, what's going on in there?" You spend the whole movie wondering why this situation is so complicated. There's 3 hostage takers, 1 hostage, and they're all standing by open windows. And our heroes are perplexed at how to handle this. And as simple as this plot sounds, it isn't. Truth be told, I had no idea what the hell was going on most of the time. Suddenly there's a plot about his sister, then there's crooked cops, and then there's some kind of cover-up plot about a meth lab. It doesn't help when the movie pads itself out with endless exposition dialogue and flashbacks that are all spoken as slowly as possible to drag a scene out as long as it can to get the movie to a 90-minute running time. As for Bruce Willis, what, do you think this will be one of the dozens of movies he's in a year where he has no desire to be there? Of course it is! You know it's bad when I said to my wife early on, well, at least he's standing. And he smiles a couple of times. Granted, a lot of the time he's standing near the same tree and spends a majority of the movie in one spot. Even with the standing, I hesitate to say this is the worst Bruce Willis performance I've ever seen, because there's a lot of his recent movies like this that I haven't seen, but it's just depressing watching him in this. This dude's movies used to be an event, and between his humor, his action, and his charisma, he's one of the best of his time. And now it's just sad, because you know he still has it in him to knock a movie out of the park, but he just doesn't. In this film, he constantly slurs his words and keeps dropping shit. One character says to him early on, "I thought you were dead," and then another goes, "Could you try to give a shit?" Not only do many of his scenes seem like the other actors aren't there, but the way the lines are read, you can tell they've got nothing to act off of. It just continues with line by line by line by line reading. Hell, he mostly just sounds annoyed by this hostage situation. Like going, no drone strike, you're gonna kill the hostage. A lot of his other lines, he puts emphasis on the wrong words and puts random pauses in the middle of his sentences. Like when they get the drone out and he says, "What a strange toy that is." In the first couple of acts, I was thinking, well, he is in the movie more than I thought he'd be, considering he only filmed for a day. But I also knew that that meant that somehow he'd get excused later on, and he does. A guy comes up to him and says, "You're off the case, get the hell out of here." And then he vanishes for most of the third act, until he comes back at the end to shoot a couple of people in the head. The editing doesn't help. This is a movie where they want Bruce at the very beginning, so they open it with random clips that happen later on, as if it opens with a promo for the movie you're about to watch. And look at what happens when they use C4 to try to get into the vault, which is just a vault door put up over a regular door in the house.
Barn hole.
What the fuck was that?
Nice, it really rattled those lights. The funniest part might be when they go in the vault and it leads to a completely different building, as if the basement of this house is a giant warehouse. I'll give the movie a D-, because some of the supporting performances are okay, and like I said, at least Bruce doesn't spend a majority of the time sitting behind a desk. Okay, thanks for watching, everyone. Be sure to subscribe to our channel today, plus stay tuned for our review of the new Scream movie, and we'll see you next time.